In the last 100 years, men and women have covered more ground than was ever thought possible. In this first segment, we revisit the great moments that have shaped the first part of our century, beginning with the years 1900 to 1929. Horses were on their way out, autos cruise into our lives, women want and get the vote, great nations march to war, and the roaring stock markets of the 20s plunged the world into a depression. And so the 20th century begins with the electric light bulb and the first radio waves ever broadcast by mankind. Man's own voice, like a stone dropped into a still pond, ripples invisibly through the air, heralding 100 years of unprecedented change that would topple the pillars of 19th century convention and force the world to redefine itself. The moving camera, a new device invented by the man responsible for lighting this new era. Thomas Edison captures the look and feel at the turn of the century. Horse-drawn carriages, bowlers, and bustles define cityscapes, while trolley cars move the masses. In Europe, economic strife or political persecution lead many to risk all and take a chance on a voyage to America. The faces aboard those ships would turn into the new face of America, consisting mostly of Russians, Germans, Italians, Swedes, and Irish. The rich European heritage these groups bring with them will eventually be woven into the ever-expanding American identity. Ellis Island becomes the first stop for the newly arrived immigrants. From here, the immigrants then travel throughout the country. Many Germans and Swedes choose Chicago or the farmlands of the Midwest. For large numbers of Irish, Russians, and Italians, New York's Lower East Side becomes their home. Outdoor markets supply both jobs and product. Urban expansion begins its upward climb. Masons, carpenters, and day laborers from Europe provide the workforce needed for this endeavor. A massive project begins at the corner of 34th Street and Broadway. 1 square city block is to be excavated. Lacking the heavy machinery of today, it's done with shovel, pick, and the muscle of men. Each phase of construction brings the huge Macy Building, a landmark which survives today, closer to completion. But New York was not the only city reaching for the sky. New construction altered the skylines of Chicago, Detroit, and San Francisco. While New York builds up its skyline, the city of San Francisco is toppled by a devastating earthquake. Buildings crumble, and severed gas lines set the city ablaze. 700 people are killed, and in just a few hours, over 200,000 find themselves homeless. The city is shattered, but the people and the industries that built it are still standing firm. Thousands of displaced people move to Oakland. Many others stay on. Tent cities spring up in parks and open spaces. Food is passed out to the hungry crowds. Banks and businesses shore up the damage and adjust themselves while the cleanup efforts begin. Automobiles are still a luxury, but old-fashioned horsepower serves people well. Parched people and animals bear the heavy work of reconstruction. as precious water is brought in on ferries. Picking their way through the rubble, people continue on with the tasks of their everyday lives. Supplies are brought in by Army pack trains. It takes just a short time to restart the trolley cars. In just 3 short years, the city is rebuilt on strong steel frames. By 1915, a brand new San Francisco plays host to the World's Fair.